Vento Nielsen from The Next Step here, making my second video on college readiness. The first video is one that I will link to down below, and it's just the one where I started the conversation about what it means to be college ready in terms of identifying what it is that you like to do and how you could try to use that idea of what you like to help present yourself and to help kind of think about where you want to be in the future. And I know that it feels like a really long time away because the book that I wrote, the book on college readiness, is really geared towards those of you that are in middle school and in the beginning of your high school years. And this book is really a great, easy to read book with just my voice, talking to you from 13 years of experience in higher ed and 2 years as a K-12 teacher. There are so many lessons that you guys have available to you that can help you with this future transition, but the key word is future. And what I think I want to address in today's video is just the way in which we think of time. I remember being a middle schooler, I remember being a high schooler, and I remember that time felt like unending. The beginning of the school year in September meant that June was like 3 years away. And time feels like that consistently the younger that you are. And then as you get older, you look back and you realize, wow, that really went fast. So I think today's lesson is really about how quickly time will pass for you. And those of you who are a little bit older, those of you who are in high school and a little bit beyond, comment down below and talk about how fast time went for you, because I really think that's something that when you're in 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade even, it doesn't seem like time goes so quickly, and it doesn't seem to make sense. Like, why should I be thinking about college when I'm in 6th grade? Well, you really should be thinking about college when you're in 6th grade, but not the way it's packaged to you, not the way in which, oh, your grades need to be perfect and you need to get a scholarship. That's a little bit of a different tact. And although that is important, what you should think about instead is, what do I love to do? What about what I love to do helps me become a more well-rounded person? What skills am I learning? And this is something that seems very foreign to someone who's in 6th, 7th, or 8th grade, and I understand that. And my role is to make it seem less foreign, is to make it seem less scary. So you really need to think about college readiness, and it really all ties into the book that I wrote, the book on college readiness, which talks about how to survive high school and how to kick butt in college. And this book is really meant towards 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th graders, and maybe even seniors in high school, because it's never too late to learn these skills. And what I wanted to start talking about today is just the concept of time. For those of you who are in middle school, you feel like high school is a million years away. And for those of you who are just starting in high school, you feel like college is like a billion years away. And I think all of us can talk about and think about when we were younger, how September felt like June was going to be like 3 years away. And time does go a little bit slower when you're younger. So what I want to talk about is just really recognizing the fact of using your skills and identifying what you like to do to help you be more college ready. And you don't have to think of it in terms of college. If that's something that makes you think, well, that's a waste of time because college is like 8 years from now, I understand that. So instead of thinking of it that way, you should really think of it in terms of what you're learning. And I know that for most middle school students, when you think of learning, you just want to jump off of something because you're like, come on, give me a break. I don't want to learn. Learning is boring. And it's fine to think that way. It's actually normal to think that way. What you need to think, though, in addition to how boring it is and how much it stinks, is that at some point in time, these things that you're learning, these pieces of your personality that are forming, could one day lead to you making a decent salary. And nobody wants to walk away from a decent salary. So you really need to think about, well, what is it that I'm doing now? And most of you are probably thinking to yourself, I'm going to be the next YouTube star, because I see some of these things that my K-12 students are doing on YouTube, and it just scares me. So I understand you might be thinking, well, I'm going to be a YouTube star. But have a plan B if that doesn't work out. If that doesn't work out, what skills and talents are you building? What things do you like to do? As much as we could say we hate school, there's always one class, one teacher that gets through to us, that helps us think of learning as something more exciting and less drudge. So who is that person and what is that subject? And if it's nothing, please comment below and tell me that, because then I will just definitely reach out to you and say there's got to be something. There's always one thing that kind of talks to us at whatever age we are. So when I was a kid, it was writing. I loved to write. I didn't really understand how that would mean anything to me, but now that I've written 4 books, 2 of which are here, the book on career readiness and the book on college readiness, and I use my blog to share advice, and I'm making videos, all of this kind of ties together into this passion I have for teaching and writing. So what is your passion? If you can identify it early enough, it actually helps you on this world called college readiness. So without thinking of college readiness, think instead of, what do you love to do? How can you use that thing that you love to do to one day maybe be able to get paid for it? How does that equal out? What does that mean? And I think for most of us, we could say that when we were young, it wasn't about being ready for college. We really didn't think about it at all. And I think that now the world is so different. The economy is so different. You really have no choice but to think about it, and think about it in terms of how you can really be your own business, how you could be your own skill set, how you can continue to learn and grow. And for those of you who are watching this who are younger, in middle school or in high school, it's hard to even make sense of these words that I'm using. So really think instead about the different ways that you can identify something you love to do and how you could do more of it, so that you get to a point where you can talk about it. You could be someone who talks to the younger grades about it. So when I deal with some high schools, some of the kids actually give back to go to their middle school, to go to their grammar school and talk about the school that they're in and try to promote it. And I think that's one wonderful way in which young students can get excelled at public speaking, at promotion, at understanding how to talk in front of a group of people. So if that's something that you would like to do, look into how you could do that. Look into meeting with people that are in the high schools that you're interested in going in, and setting up relationships with people, connections, thinking about networking on a scale of what it means for a middle schooler or a high schooler. So think about using all of these different things to identify your skill sets, to think about what you like to do as opposed to saying skill set. Just think about what you like to do and how you could utilize that in your future in terms of growing and learning as a person. And learn with me at thenextstep1234.com. Happy hunting. New videos are to come. Let me know what you'd like me to talk about next. Happy hunting.